boom. So what's going on, you guys? Mike and I just kind of
water.
That would have been great. Maybe not for your computer.
Maybe not for my computer.
Yeah. So here we are, you guys. This is episode number 114 of Mirrorless Minutes. Mike is actually home.
I'm here. I'm right at home. I can't believe it either.
Last time you were home.
I'm trying to take a deep breath to believe that I've actually been. I just stepped off a plane like an hour and 15 minutes ago. Rushed to here. I even got a workout in and sweat. I'm sweating right now. So, but nobody can smell me, so it's all right.
It's not smell-o-vision.
It's not smell-o-vision.
I know. I messaged Mike and said, "Hey, I'm going to jump on about 10 minutes early. We can kind of pre-show chat." And he says, "Yeah, I'll just be walking in the door." And I'm like, "Whoa, okay, that's scary." But so, anyways, let's just kind of get the ball rolling here. We titled episode number 114 "PA or Bust," and that's because those of you that have been following the show know that Mike and I put out the vote last year at some point and said, "Hey, why don't you guys help us decide where we're going to do our joint workshop at this year?" And of all the places, I just find this amazing. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, hey, it's a new destination for me, for sure.
Yeah, for me too. It's a blast. I mean, it's a place I've always wanted to shoot. I don't know if I'm more excited or the people that wanted us to come there.
Right. It's funny. They're going to be like, so are you guys going to teach us or are you going to shoot all the time? We'll definitely be teaching, but it'll be exciting for us too. I think it's kind of a cool idea. And it's funny because I've talked with Mark Miller about doing a workshop, kind of how this one is ending up for us. And that's where we go somewhere we've never been. So we're seeing it with fresh eyes, kind of like some of the attendees might be. Yeah. And then I think that you get this sense of inspiration and you're like pumped up from being in a new place.
Oh, I agree.
That I think it just kind of spills over into everybody else that's there. So I think we'll see some of that vibe.
Yeah, this will be a little different because normally where we've gone, for sure, I mean, you take Detroit or any Western Michigan, we really know, hey, here's a good shot. Here's a good shot. Here's a fun shot. Right. But this is going to be a blast, figuring out the right shot. And then it's at the same time, I think with everybody there really working on their camera settings and, like we talked about, I think it should be really neat to do that.
Yeah. You brought up a really good point. You mentioned going over camera settings and something that you and I were talking about was, we keep these workshops open to anybody who wants to come. Regardless of the fact of who we represent as a camera manufacturer, we're photographers and creators first and foremost. And we want to share, that with everybody and share, the tips and tricks and techniques to help you create as well. And, but there are some things in the cameras that we use that other systems might not use. And I just want to put it out there that Mike and I are definitely going to focus really hard on a few features that are built into our cameras. And while if you're an attendee and you don't have an Olympus camera, you're still going to get great shots. We're still going to be able to work with you just fine. But if you are an Olympus user, Mike and I are developing a work plan, like a work, I don't know how to put this, a system of teaching you things that are in your camera that you probably forget to use or don't know how to use or haven't used. And we're going to show you how to best those in this.
We've touched on this, I think, on a lot of our workshops here and there, like I think in Atlanta, we worked on double exposure and a couple of people went crazy, but we want to put a whole list of those kind of things. And people say, "Oh, I forgot all about double exposure. I forget to use that." And, quite frankly, I do too at times. It's nice to have this list to say, hey, I'm out at this great place. I want to see this, but what else could I do here? And Olympus has so many of those great things in their cameras. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. It's funny. So in the chat here, Adam Barf said, for more fun, make Jamie use one of the pen cameras and not the Pen F. No. If I'm taking a pen, buddy, it's the Pen F. That thing is my jam for travel.
It's
So you guys probably want to know when this is going to happen, what it's going to cost, the price of admission, things like that. So 10-person limit. That's what Mike and I always tend to keep our workshops at. We find that even maxed out at 10, we can still give really good individual attention. So that's cool. So 10 people, first come, first served. $350 And it's going to cover 3 days, starting on everybody's favorite day, Friday the 13th.
Yep. We picked that special.
I was going to ask you, did you look at the calendar when we talked about
didn't.
this?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't think about it until you just said that.
I didn't think about it either till I started kind of going over my show notes here.
Yeah.
So Friday the 13th, it won't be a full day on Friday. So it'll give people time to get into town on Friday. But we'll do probably sit down for dinner together, kind of a meet and greet, kind of go over what the itinerary is going to be in a little more detail in person. And then we're going to head out after dinner and go shoot that night. So you can imagine night shooting in Pittsburgh is probably going to involve live composite. Again, one of those features that we're going to hit on. And then the rest of the weekend, we kind of rounded out Saturday. Mike and
it's going to be a day.
You and I work people into the ground.
I know. Just be
but
prepared.
It won't be too bad. Yeah, just be prepared to walk. We'll give plenty of time for breaks and things like that. But it'll be an all-day event. We're going to shoot from sunrise. There'll be breaks throughout the day if you need them, all the way into the night, again, for more live composite. So day 2 is a full, complete day. What do we figure?
Yeah, and we'll hit everything from your landscape shot all the way into your urban shot. Could be a little street inside there, depending on what we find, and then guaranteed, obviously, great night shots with. And then the night before, I mean, we'll shoot, but we're not going to stay out till midnight because we know the next day is going to be a long one. So we'll be out for an hour and a half just to sort of get everybody interested. I think is the best way.
Yes. So Bob Panic says September 13th. If I forgot to say the month, I apologize. I was so hung up on Friday the 13th. But yes, Bob, it is September, the month, Friday the 13th. So, and then like Mike said, all day Saturday and then Sunday, we're going to wake up. We'll do sunrise together and then probably finish up with a breakfast together, kind of talk about the sequence of events that have unfolded over the weekend. And we'll fill you guys in on how we like to do a remote image share and stuff like that. Basically using what we're doing here, Google Hangouts.
Yeah, but we won't force you to be live.
No. Just us.
Just us.
Yeah, so that's basically it. It's not live on the meetup site yet. We're going to put all that stuff together probably over the weekend here. But again, it's September, Friday the 13th.
13th, 14th, and 15th.
Correct. At 10 people minimum or maximum, and $350 is the cost of admission. So that's that. Stay tuned for more details on the meetup site. For those who don't know, it's meetup.com/mirrorless adventures. Yeah. So there we go. So that's that. That's the workshop, folks. Thank you for choosing Pittsburgh.
Yes, exactly.
So, what do you want to talk about next? Do you have a thing you want to talk about? Because
what do I have?
If you can't tell, I'm running at 500 miles an hour.
I know. No, well, let's see. I want to talk about the one spot, if I could, on another workshop that I have open with Megan. It's the New York City workshop. It's the very first weekend in June. So I believe that actually is, I'm going to pull it up so I don't make a mistake. The 30th and June 1st. It is. June 1st is the Saturday. There's an opportunity to get together on Friday night. But it's 1st and 2nd. And it's in New York City. And, we did one last year. There's one spot, one person just had a drop. So it's back open. Go ahead and take it. We'll put a link in the show notes. And if you have any questions, let us know. But Megan was the, the producer, the creator, the whole thing of 52 Magic Mondays. Check it out online. She knows New York. She really knows. She's easily can get there from Connecticut on a train ride, and she's been doing it for years. And we just had a blast last time. And I still have pictures I haven't done from last fall. I still have a bunch. And so I think it'll be excellent if you want to get in and do some street shooting and really at the same time do a lot of live composite stuff at nights. So check it out. One spot left. We only take 4 people. This is a whole different scenario. So it's two to two students and 2 to one instructor. So we really and the main reason we do that, people have asked, I think too, I should tell people, is New York's not the easiest place to move around. And the last thing we need to do is lose somebody. I mean, Jamie and I have sometimes almost lost people, but we still got we're still batting 1,000 though. We're okay. We brought everybody back every time. But it is easy to lose on a subway and a craziness inside the city. Yeah. So, Jamie and I have shot together there in New York City, and I feel like we've almost lost each other.
It's so easy there too.
So that's why we try to do that, so we can move fast and easy. But yeah, check it out. I'm real excited to be doing that one and get back and shooting some street stuff too. So, and then how about you? Don't you have another spot still? Yours is coming up.
Yeah, mine's coming up as well. We've got a couple spots left on ours. We'd love to have you on board. If you can't, I guess that's just more attention I get to pay to everybody that's actually going. We'll miss you if you're not going to be there. But so I've got a workshop with Mark Meller, fellow Vanguard professional. It's taking place in Moab, Utah. Like, dude, incredible country. Yeah. And you can swing over again to our meetup page. That's meetup.com/mirrorless adventures. And you can just click on the link to that workshop and just go check it out. If it's something you're interested in, there's still time to sign up and get a space over there. Definitely be fun to have you along. We're driving like when we're there, so you don't have to drive while you're there. We have a van secured for that. So we'll drive you around while we're there. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, again, looking forward to that event. It's going to be a busy month. May is for me. I'll be
oh my gosh,
in Utah for a week, and then I'll be in Philadelphia for a week, like just 1 week apart from each other. So yeah, fun traveling. So that's workshop news. Man, we covered 3 workshops.
I know.
This year's kind of shaping up to be pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I want to talk about.
You want to talk about that like button? I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Okay. Oh boy, here we go.
Is it going to be like a rant?
So, almost. I tell you what, it's something flipped inside of me the other week that made me. I'll tell you what it was. So I was flipping through Instagram. That's cool. Double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, and I thought, that's pretty meaningless. Like, what is the point of that? Okay, they got a heart, great. I mean, for some people, I suppose that's great to see that count go up, to get some sort of a acknowledgement that that somebody went by and dug it. But so I make things. I make photos, and my photos aren't. And I'm not knocking a genre or anything, but I'm not just I snap the photo and then it's on to the next thing, and then I post it on the internet. For me, it's a process. I get to a location. I'm in like this moment. I'm in an emotional state. I take a photo. I get home and I want to alter what came off of the camera sometimes to make it represent kind of how I felt. I put some of myself into it.
Yeah.
And I thought, for me, I love it when somebody types out, man, this is so cool. I like this, man, I got a kick out of seeing this. I've never seen somebody do this with an image or whatever. Like, somebody took the time to comment, and that means a lot to me. And maybe it's just because I'm getting, maybe it's midlife crisis kind of thing. I don't know what it is. I'm getting all emotional, like, whatever it is. But I just realized that, man, I'm getting pissed off at the like button. The like button is, like, to me personally, I don't want to push my viewpoint on anybody, but to me, the like button is an empty gesture when used to show appreciation for something somebody created.
Oh, yeah.
It's one thing. It's funny because I made this post talking about it, and I had all these people say, I'm not sure if I should like this comment or if I need to make a comment. And I'm like, no. Look at. Yeah. If you make a post, if you post a picture of a little animated file of a cat, playing with a ball of yarn, and I think it's cute, whatever, I'm going to hit like, or if you say, hey, the boss just gave me a big raise today, heck yeah, I'm going to hit like. That's cool,
Yeah.
If you made something and it made me stop and say, man, this is cool. I think you deserve me to spend just a moment and tell you why or what I like about it, or at least acknowledge it in more than a passing gesture that I would give the same attention to as a cat with a ball of yarn, if that makes sense. And I don't expect everybody to do this. It's time consuming.
Yeah, it is.
I'll tell you what, my analysis of what I'm seeing on streams has changed. I'm really, being cognizant of where I'm just doling out the likes. And I know it kind of sucks because some people say that they just like to know that hey, I see you saw my picture. That's cool. You get like I know that you saw what I'm doing. And, and I'm sorry for those people that won't get that as frequently anymore. I just really want to give you something more meaningful in feedback. It's like the difference between me sending you a text, me sitting down with a piece of paper and writing. I mean, I know everybody's like, who the hell does that anymore? But
or picking up the phone to call you or whatever it is. Yeah,
it's the principle behind it's the concept behind it. And so that's kind of this little journey I'm on. It's funny because I made this post, and the people over at Pixie, they're the company I use to combat like image theft of my images. Their people saw it. They follow me on, like, I'm friends with some of them on Facebook, so they saw the post, and their people reached out to me, said, oh, you know, we love your work. We really love your attitude too. We love, you know, what you just had to say. Would you write a blog post for us? So I'm like, yeah, definitely. You know, I'll definitely share that. So there should be a blog post coming out about it pretty soon on the Pixie website. But and again, I'm not pushing this on anybody else. It's just, it's where my head is at right now. I feel like you deserve more than just a passing click and then on to the next thing, you know?
Yeah. And it gets real easy to do that because it's just a mental scrolling, as I call it. Like fingers just going, you know, throwing like this. Yeah. Really cool. But, you know, I think one of the things though too, and that's maybe how we interact with the audience, all of the Mirrorless Minutes audiences, we take the time to respond when people say stuff to us. I mean, if I have heard that more in the last couple months. I don't know if other people are taking less time or something, and all of a sudden that people are realizing it. But I would rather have whatever we have, I don't know, 2, 4, 5,000 maybe followers, and instead of somebody's 45, 50,000, I'd rather have the 5,000 at least actually are humans that are listening to us, you know. As opposed to just all this blank, you know, like, I subscribe, I'm done, you know. And it just,
I could not agree more.
It just makes it so much different, and especially as we start heading towards, you know, the 5-year mark. You know, the other day, it was funny when we both had that thing with shit. We've been on Facebook together for 5 years. That's like crazy. I'm thinking, damn, 5 years, you know how much crap we've done in 5 years? You know, it's just off the charts.
It has been a while.
You know, so yeah, I think it's just about being true to yourself, and what we've always started with hasn't really changed, other than we look older. So
you had to go there. But no, I agree. You're totally right. You know, I would trade, you know, 500 likes on a photo for 5 comments. I really would. You know, I don't get excited looking at Instagram at the likes anymore. I could care less.
Yeah.
You know, I'm enthused to see somebody say, man, that was cool, you know, or like, how'd you find that place? Or, man, the light in this is cool, you know, whatever.
Right.
It means more to me, way more to me, because I know you took a minute and actually thought about, you know, what you see. So thank you to those people. Yeah, so now that I'm all emotional, let's talk about, so I got a new toy. If my camera will focus on it here. It wants to focus on my face, but so this is the 12 to 200.
That's cool. Yeah.
And so Olympus sent it to me to kind of just run it through its paces and kind of gather some sample imagery and things like that. And I'll have a it's funny, I'm looking at the chat here. So sorry, I got to interrupt this. So Andrew Oki says, "What next? I suppose drinking pop is not good enough, or is it soda?"
It's always
I'm not drinking. So I gave up soda. I gave up pop. I do have an old fashioned here, but aside from that, and I'm walking at least a mile a day at work. I digress. As Sharky James would say, I digress.
Yep. Right.
So anyway, so the 12 to 200. A little bit of background on this lens for those who might not have caught like the press release or any news about it. So this is kind of like, it's not in the pro lineup of lenses, but it is weather sealed. I'm going to kind of call this like a mid-grade lens. And I know that they have a tier system, but my personal feeling is this like a mid-grade lens. If you have an EM5, I say go buy this lens, and you have like a one camera, one lens walking wonder for weather. A lot of W's. And so it covers, like I said, a crazy focal range, 12 millimeters to 200. It's not as fast as the 12 to 100 at f4. This is, what am I doing here? 3.5 to 6.3 at the long end. So you're going to want a little bit of light when you're doing this. You know, you're going to have to crank up the ISO a little bit potentially. My experiences so far with it, I've done some outdoor shooting, you know, where there's good light, it's like no problem. It's like focus just like that. You know? But I did take it this past weekend to a butterfly exhibit in Grand Rapids. It's indoors, intermittent light. So it's like a greenhouse. I'm not sure what you call the big glass greenhouses, but it's like a big glass greenhouse. And so it's a cloudy day, but there were breaks in the cloud. So we go from like fairly dark in there to light. When it was dark, focus was slower. It never didn't focus. It was just a little slower in catching focus. But you know, that's where you'll kind of see the aperture kind of play into factor a little bit, you know, and I had to jack up the ISO some, but the photos that I share, you'll see like even jacking the ISO up, it's like, yeah, still these turned out really good.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, I can't wait to get mine because I do think it's a cool travel lens. If you really are forced to go with a one lens deal, and I know how much I am. Look, I love the 12-100. I mean, obviously it's fantastic lens, but what's the size comparison when you have that 12-1? Can you have it right there? I'm sure the weight's a lot different.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
not like that. So not
a little bit
difference. Yeah. I mean, you got to figure, you know, we've got.
But you're also getting out another, you know, you're also getting another 100 out of it.
Correct. You're doubling the
200, right?
And you're including image stabilization in this, which obviously adds to the size and weight as well.
Right. Exactly.
But I had somebody ask me earlier this week, hey, you know, I want your honest feedback about the lens, and I'm like, well, first of all, I don't ever not give it.
I was just gonna say.
Just sadly, I'm crazy enthusiastic about a lot of crap, but honestly, I would say that if you like to travel, just buy this one and just call it a day. Like you said, I mean, it's literally the perfect travel lens. It covers such a broad range.
Yeah.
You know, and generally most people that are traveling, they're traveling. They're not necessarily like a photographer who's traveling. They're just somebody who's traveling. And so this is going to be something that I recommend to somebody who's not as hardcore as maybe some of the people in the chat room are necessarily, although I think you might find benefit in this if you do travel a lot anyways.
Yeah.
So far, I'm totally pumped on the image quality.
I tell you, I was in Jamaica. You're going to see some pictures from there, but I could see using that lens there. I would have loved to have it out on the beach. I'm sitting out on the beach and I'm going, you know what? There's a cool shot right there. And that kind of light during the day, perfect.
Yeah, no problem.
Simple, lighter, sure. You know, and now that it's weatherproof, even better, you know, to me.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I can't recommend it enough. So far, my experiences with it have been pretty phenomenal. So 3/4 of a foot, Andrew Oakey, 0.72 feet is the minimum focusing distance.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
On it. Yep. Okay. I didn't know that off the top of my head. I just knew that I was getting pretty darn close to butterflies and irritating them, and they were taking off. So yeah. So you want to do an image here? Dude, I'll tell you what. It's cold here. I'm tired of it. Let's see some warm photos if you have some.
I do actually have some warm photos. Let's see if I can find them. We'll start out with a little street shooting. Do you see the kids there? Okay, great. So there's a story behind this, and that's why I really want to share it. It maybe not the greatest photo in life, although I just like the kids. But we, of course, we're in Jamaica for a week, and we wanted to go to a couple of places. You know, I asked around everywhere to find somebody to take me to do some photos that weren't so, you know, where all the tourists are going. I could get on any kind of excursion and see everything, but I don't want to have a bunch of tourists. So I found a lady, the private taxi cab driver that, oh my gosh, she was so great. I think we actually could put something together. She said she would drive a van for us all weekend long. She'd even get us a Jamaica workshop. She said she'd even get us you know, like a police or security escort if we want to do some street shooting in a couple of these towns. It's you know, it's not Kansas. Let's just say that. There's some rough areas, but so she took me around. I'm out on the street here, and she's just watching me, you know, telling me be careful. But these kids come up to me, and all the boys wear this color in school. In Jamaica, everybody wears uniforms to school. School is getting out. All the boys wear this color, and all the girls wear a different color depending on what school you go to. So, you know, great stuff to learn and all that. But these kids are coming, and I had snapped a picture of them, and they're walking back, and the kid comes up to me and goes, "Are you a tourist?" I said, what tipped that off, man? You know, I'm sitting there with my camera and stuff. He was just so happy. He goes, "Oh, thanks for coming." And it's just amazing at this age how much they know that tourism is so key to their survival, you know, in Jamaica. It was really cool. And the kids were laughing, and we were laughing. So I just love taking pictures and finding this lady to take me around. So I'll get through a couple of these. And, you know, it's funny, you're not even going to see one beach picture. I'm not even going to show a beach picture, some beach, because I was so excited she was taking me around to places. And I love this shot of somebody gating off an abandoned house. The craziest things there in homes. They're not really abandoned, she told me, because people take sometimes up to 20 years to build a home, because they can't get all the materials up into like the mountains and stuff. So, and they can't get the raw materials, so they have to make them all there. And it takes years. So this home, I said, "So that's not an abandoned home?" She says, "Oh no." She says, "They're just still building it." I said, "Oh my God." Wow. So just lots of cool colors and, you know, and that. But then this thing was abandoned, our next thing. And I had to do this because I knew Jamie loves lighthouses so much. I found an abandoned lighthouse.
Oh my God.
She told me about this. So we're on the inside of a gate looking at this, and up walks a new, I guess he calls himself the proprietor. He says he is now running this whole thing. And they're trying to rescue this lighthouse, basically. And this is in Negril, Jamaica, if anybody wants to know. That's the city. But this abandoned lighthouse has all these other houses around it, which you'll see. And he goes, "Man, come on, man. If you come in, I'll let you." I have a bad Jamaica voice. He says, "I'll let you. You know, we'll go around. We'll go up into it." But I was getting to a place where I wanted to shoot sunset. There was no way I could go. And he was, you know, he goes, "Just pay me some money, you know." And I said, "Nah, you know what? I'm coming back. I'll get that." But just a really cool lighthouse. And I got a picture from the other side where I was going to shoot sunset of it at the end here. But just some of the look at the stuff around here. These are all the houses that are all around the lighthouse, like innkeeper houses and everything. It's just been abandoned for very long, obviously, and been really weathered. And then the trees, hundreds of years old, just twisted. I mean, it looks like the trees are like roots. It was so wild. Definitely not something that you normally would see like in Detroit. So really, really neat. But here's this is the lighthouse from the other side. And this is just beautiful. Man. Yeah, this is beautiful. I mean, I can't even explain it. So off to the left, what you don't see, and I'm sure I'll be sharing these at some time, is an 85-foot jump. All the divers, they do cliff diving on the other side. Yeah. So and you can go up and cliff dive too, meaning you, not me, but you can go up and cliff dive at different levels, 30, 50. I don't think they let anybody go to the 85. They've got like special divers that go up and perform for it, you know, just wild. But this is all locals. This isn't, you know, and it's a place called Rick's Cafe. If anybody ever has been there, they'll know. You go there to watch the sunset. Unfortunately, you know, for 7 straight days we were there. And for the hour and a half that I wanted to go and shoot sunset, it poured so bad. But it was the only 90 minutes of rain for 7 straight days. I didn't care though, because I got shots like this. It was so cloudy. Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, it was just beautiful. But you could just see these kind of shots where you'd go crazy for landscape in Jamaica. So, and I didn't want to show the beaches. I think everybody knows there's a beach there, but sure. You know, so that's the thing. But yeah, we're talking about it. You never know. It could happen. I mean, this lady is so good and could take us around. Why not? Right? Get a passport, do something for a couple days.
Ready. I've only got one stamp in my passport.
Yeah.
Ready. I'm ready to put another one in it.
So you know, maybe next year we put Jamaica on the list to vote for. Now, I can tell you, it may not be $350. So
Probably.
No. So,
but I mean, think about it. You know, I have a feeling that with your experience there now and your connection, that it would be a workshop pretty much unlike any other workshop you would probably do there. You know, Mike could guide us through literally like his wheelhouse, you know, street, urban, and like, and I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but Mike has like a long history of like urbex and shooting abandoned places and things like that. So, and then we could kind of end the day in some of these spots, you know.
And there's just so many, the cliffs and you know, cutouts. I was, even Denise, my wife's going, Jamie would go crazy if he saw this lighthouse. I said, yeah, there's no waves crashing on it though. There's no place for him to fall in.
Right. But I'm telling you what, that's never going to go away.
But I said, if he gets over to that cliff diver spot, he might.
It'd be epic fail for sure. So here's a quick question though, totally unplanned, but so you have connections in Puerto Rico too. Is that potentially something we could talk about?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm going there in a couple months for work again. I could really solidify that.
I wonder if
that would be easy. Don't need a passport.
Yeah. You know? I wonder if we should put out a vote.
You know, the Puerto Rico one would be really easy. I don't know that much. I know a lot about San Juan and then the town,
right?
The old town, the fort, all that stuff. What I don't know is on the other side of the island is all the rainforest.
Right.
And that would be cool. That's good. It's just like Jamie's rainforest when you're like Jurassic Park when you run in.
I'll tell you what, people need to get over to Mirrorless Adventures and sign up.
You never know
your workshop next.
Yeah, you
from the deserts of the Southwest to New York to tropical islands. Who knows?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I'll do a quick image share. We can kind of wrap this show up here, running a little bit over. So let me click the big old magic button here for screen share. So it's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag of images here. So the first one being one of the butterfly shots, like I said, with the 12 to 200. This is at 200 millimeters, and this is at ISO 6400. And I'm pretty happy with it. For 6400, I'll tell you what, a couple of years ago, 6400, I wouldn't have been doing an image share with it. So super stoked actually with how sharp it is at 6400. This is shot with the EM1X too, just so you guys know. I have not put this lens on any of the other cameras that it's probably more appropriate for. That's going to happen this weekend. I'll be shooting with it on an EM10 Mark III and my EM5 Mark II, just to kind of maybe put the lens on a body that, you know, it's probably going to be more at home on than I mean, I don't know too many EM1X owners that are going to put this lens on there necessarily, but we all know that it would definitely do great photos. Love the color that comes out of this lens as well. Untouched. So this is basically just right off the camera. Same with this next one. So this one was at 200 millimeters. One of the butterflies that I kind of scared away, and I just wanted a close up, so I had to crank it all the way out to 200 millimeters and crush that background. And so I was shooting an just for people who are curious, shutter priority, because I wanted to make sure that if they were moving, I could at least freeze it. So I had it set at 800th of a second, which really forced the ISO way up. So this next shot here that I'm showing was actually a point in time when there was a little bit of light kind of coming in through the glass panes, and so the ISO wasn't quite as high. This was 3200. This was not at 200 millimeter though. I think that this was around the 150 millimeter range, somewhere in that area. Again, just super happy with this lens so far indoors. Caught focus fast enough, to be able to get these guys when they're stationary. And I think I made a post online talking about catching butterflies in flight. That is totally not something that I'm even going to attempt, because it's just birds in flight are one thing. Butterflies in flight, like, you got to be manic to even try that. To answer Mike Hedges' question, how fast is the focusing on the 12 to 200 compared to the pro lenses like the 12 to 100? It's going to be a little slower. I'm not going to lie to you about that. It's definitely slower. Whereas the 12 to 100 is pretty damn instantaneous, it feels like. This one takes us, I'm not going to say it takes a second, because it's obviously way less than a second, but it's enough for me to perceive that there is a slowness in this one versus the pro lenses. It didn't, I didn't miss any shots because of the speed. I'll just say that. And that was even indoors. Outdoors where it's light, it seems like it caught focus way faster. But I would have no problems recommending this lens to somebody that's going to shoot. I'm not going to say indoor sports with it. Obviously, that's just great. But in this situation where I was shooting here, you know, it was okay light. Definitely better than a gym for sure, but not outdoor light. The next shot again is with the 12-200 as well. I'm doing a little bit of urbex in an abandoned barn just outside of the town that I live in. A friend of mine, she lives one street over from me, and she's actually in the next photo. This is like her barn. So I have my barn that everybody's seen. She has her own barn. It's kind of funny how weird hillbillies we must be in rapids that we have barns we photograph. But so I decided to go out and check out her barn and just kind of wandered inside of it. And I wanted to just kind of, you know, this was actually the first day with the lens. I just wanted to see how it resolves, you know, what the resolution's like on it. Again, everything so far on the EM1X. Because I can't put that body down now. But just kind of zooming in, we'll let that kind of clear up a little bit. So I think we're probably at about like 300% here, and it's still holding up some good detail there. Totally happy with the results from it. And like I said, the light was pretty good. You could see it coming in through the roof, so the focus was pretty much instantaneous. So the next two shots, that friend of mine, Liana, she messaged me, said, hey, I need a break. I want to go shoot. And I said, you know what? I need a break too. I'll swing by and pick you up and we'll go shoot. So I took her to this abandoned train that's it's in between two towns here where I live. And I've been here before several times and just kind of walking through and doing things a little different. I had the 8mm fisheye on, and I just wanted something I hadn't done here before. And I found this cage on the floor that I think is used for probably holding, it's a cover over a light bulb, you know, to keep it from breaking. So I picked it up and I thought, man, this is going to look kind of different. You know, I had been playing with multiple exposures and just wanted something different. So put the cage over the front of the lens and took the photo. And the first one was with her in focus. And thank you, Liana, for saying, what did you have in focus, me or the cage? And I said, well, you were in focus. And she goes, what's it going to look like with the cage in focus? And the 8mm f1.8 focus is like stupid close to things. So this cage was like almost touching the glass. And of course it grabbed focus on it, and then I shot it and I looked at the back of the camera and I said, thank you for the suggestion, because I wasn't going to do that. So this is just EM1X, 8mm f1.8 fisheye at 1.8, just to you know, give me as much shallow of a depth of field as I can get on an 8mm fisheye. And post-processed, I've been using On1 a lot. I'm really turning into a fanboy of On1. I'll talk about that probably on another show for sure. So we got done shooting at the train, and Liana said, hey, do you have time? I've got an abandoned farmhouse that I can get us into. It's near my mother's home, and her mother lives like way, way out in the countryside, kind of way away from us. And I said, yeah, sure. So she called her mother up, let her know we were going to be coming. And so we went into this home, and I know this is not everybody's cup of tea, but God, I can't explain what it's like to be in some place like this, but you feel like somebody's letting you see secrets. I don't know how to explain this. It's so weird. I've been struggling all day because I wanted to share this photo and I didn't know how to describe it, but it's like you're being let in on something. It's hard to explain, but I was fascinated with this house, especially because I knew the backstory, because her mother knew the people who lived there. And this older couple, older farmers, they passed away. Their kids lived out of state and they just never came back. And the house has just sat there for 15 years, I think, with nobody in it. And it was crazy. So the floorboards, I'll just give everybody a little bit of insight into what urbexing and urban, exploring stuff like this is like. We first went into the basement because it's an old farmhouse from the 1800s. So it had an exterior entrance to the basement. And let me just give you details real quick. 7mm on the EM1X. It's the 7-14 wide open at f2.8, just handheld. Let me get out of the screen share here because I'm going to talk about this real quick. So we get to this house and she says, I want to show you the basement because it's an old stone wall basement. And she said there's a shelf lined with all these old mason jars that were like blue glass. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see this. So we get down there, somebody had come in and taken all the blue glass mason jars. And I was like, all right, whatever. I got a few shots and I was going to leave, and I look up at the ceiling and the floorboards are hanging down. But they looked really strange. And I looked close and I'm like, wow, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. So I grabbed the floorboard and literally just squeezed it and broke a chunk off of it, and I could just crumble it into dust. So I've been eaten up by termites, which instantly I started thinking, wait, we're going upstairs. Where was I standing? So when I'm upstairs, I don't come down into the basement. This stuff is dangerous. It's not necessarily something you just kind of run into it willy-nilly and just like, hey, I'm just taking pictures. You need to be really aware of what's going on in your surroundings. But really wanted to share this and really encourage, if anybody's watching this or listens to this, seek me out on Facebook and Instagram. Not because I need the likes. We already went over this. Because this week I decided, because I was inspired by this day trip to go shoot these things, to completely flip my Instagram. My Instagram is almost 100% landscape in nature. And I just thought, man, I want to share some of these shots from this and some of my other experiences. So I flipped my Instagram this week, and it's all urbex all week. But I've got a couple of more shots from this house that I want to share, and I'd really like people to see them. The light in there is just beautiful. You can see that room that, well, when it was up on the right-hand side, there was just this beautiful blue paint, and it was such a fun experience.
Isn't it really different though to see those kind of places compared to Detroit and all the industrial? It's a whole, and I totally get it. I know what you're saying. It feels like you are walking in on someone's life. When you're in the industrial part, it feels neat because you got history and what was built there, maybe a car or, machinery, but it doesn't have, there was humans in there, and nobody rips it apart. Maybe they ripped apart those mason jars, it sounds like. Right. But, but otherwise, man, that's crazy.
The closest I ever felt to how I felt when I was at that house, when I was in Detroit exploring places, was Southwest General Hospital. Yeah. Because we found numerous rooms in there where there were patient records and there were photos and things like that. And that was just like, I really felt uncomfortable, not about the fact that I was like trespassing, in an abandoned hospital, but the fact that I'm looking at like somebody's medical chart and their faces on it and their name and their birth date and social security number, stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, I felt really.
I felt that way too in a doctor's office with vials of blood. They're all dried up, and it's like, oh man, got names on it. Yeesh.
But at the same
time,
I
didn't touch anything. I can tell you that.
Yes, that's the golden rule. You hit the nail on the head. Just leave stuff as you found it. So I guess we could probably close out tonight's show. I just want to answer Mike Ozinski really quick about shooting HDR. Yes. Definitely in situations like the image that I shared, while it looks really bright, it wasn't that bright. So I do bracket shots. My personal settings for situations like this are I do 3 shots at plus or minus 3 EV. I think that's what it is. And I hand hold them. Man, you got to love the image stabilization of these cameras. That combined with, I don't think they move at all when I do the shots, but if they did, I mean, the software kind of can merge things together really well and take care of any kind of ghosting that might have happened. But bracket those shots, buddy. So I guess that's it. Ran over. It's 45-minute show, but dude, you've been gone for 2 shows. You owed us 15 minutes.
I know. Yeah, exactly. No, it was great to be back on.
So yeah, just to recap really quick, you guys, don't forget Mike's got a spot on that workshop in New York City. Believe me, Mike and Megan in New York leading you around. Hands down, probably your best experience in New York City. And then I've got a couple of spots left on the Moab workshop. Just swing over to mirrorlessadventures.com/meetup.com/mirrorlessadventures. I figured it out at some point. That's it for the show. And don't forget to keep an eye on Mirrorless Adventures because the Pittsburgh workshop will be landing soon. Yeah. You guys take care. Thank you as always. For being. Take care.